everyone. It's Bella Malloy here, host of Seek Travel Ride. Welcome to another midweek episode of Cycle Shorts, where I bring you some short stories from our amazing listeners who share their experiences from one day of their trip. This week we have listeners Lili and Aire, who, along with their lovely little dog Schnook, are making their way on a bicycle tour presently from India all the way to Italy. Before we get into the story that Lili and Aire are going to share for us, I just had a quick favour to ask you, my awesome superfan listeners. If you're enjoying Seek Travel Ride, please do me a favour, go into your podcast player app right now and, if possible, give the show a 5-star rating and review. What this does is acts as social proof so that people who are searching through podcast players, when they see Seek Travel Ride pop up, they see your awesome reviews and recognise it straight away as a show that is worth listening to. There's no time like the present. Put the podcast on pause, go into your podcast app and leave me that 5-star review right now. Thank you so much. Okay, without any further ado, let's listen to Lili and Aire share one day of their trip.
Hello Bella, hello everyone. My name is Aire. I was born and grew up in a little valley in the north of Italy. I moved to India in January 2023 to learn how to build tree houses with a treehouse community in Auroville, Tamil Nadu. And there is where I've met Lili.
My name is Lili, and I grew up in Auroville in the south of India. So I moved to Auroville to India when I was 3 years old with my family. I'm actually German by nationality, but India is my home. And Aire and I are both training as carpenters and treehouse builders and arborists. So we're tree climbers and tree fascinated for sure. And having met in Auroville last year, we decided together with our dog Schnook to set out on this journey to travel by bicycle from my home village, Auroville, to Aire's home village in the north of Italy in Rasai. The purpose of our project is to learn more and to engage in a knowledge exchange around particular tree-based themes. And these are mainly the conservation of native species, re- and afforestation, and sustainable construction and sustainable practices.
So we are visiting projects connected with these topics and schools in order to learn and share what we know. And our project is called Goodbye by Bicycle.
A memorable day of our journey with Goodbye by Bicycle of Aire, Lili and Schnook is the 27th of January this year, when we were in Karnataka in the south of India. We woke up in our tent that morning near the Agumbe Rainforest Research Station and dried our tent out in the sun before starting off to go and find a school where a film was being screened about some of the snake research that had been done at the station recently. And then when we got to that school, the one that we thought the film was being screened at, we were welcomed and invited to come into the school and meet the principal, and after some conversation realized that these people had no idea about any film screening, but they were very welcoming and kind, and we had fun meeting members of staff at the school. And then we rode out of the Agumbe area, and cycling through those roads, we saw a lot of destruction of the forest and trees for road expansion. And via a detour by a beautiful Ganesha temple and an interesting ficus tree there, we got going in the correct direction. We stopped by a river in the afternoon, and I gave Schnook a shower. And we had some fruits and snacks. And then we headed towards Nagara.
And getting closer to this village, Nagara, we saw this amazing fort at the top of the hill, and it was almost sunset time. So we rushed to try to find the entrance of this fort, and we ran up to the hill just in time to see an amazing sunset. One of those moments that you don't plan, but then you have them, and it was just amazing. We took some pictures, we enjoyed. We had also to discuss with the guard because really the fort was closing, so we didn't even pay the entrance because it was the last 15 minutes. And after that, very happy and satisfied, we went down. We went to refill our bottle in a petrol station like we usually do. We usually did in India, and Lili almost started a fight with one of the few unpolite guy that was calling Schnook in not a proper way.
So after our nearly fight, we left and were feeling a little I mean, the fight turned up because of being tired and not having patience and not being able to shrug off people being a little rude and invasive, especially with the dog. And so we headed along the road. Aire found a perfect spot to camp, but we had to lift our bicycles and the trailer up some stairs to get to this elevated platform, kind of tree-covered spot, which turned out to be the burial ground, an ancient burial ground of a royal and very impactful family. So we had a good resting place that night.
Of course, we discovered it the day after when the sun came up. And a particularity of that camping spot was that because the floor was covered with dry leaves, we felt safe because we would have heard anyone approaching us and the tent. Skrik skrok.
So this was quite early on in our journey, a few weeks from leaving Oroville, where we started. And as Aire said, we were still testing the waters in many ways and understanding what it's like to camp and where we can camp safely. And we really noticed that just being a few meters away from the road is already outside of people's vision. So people tend to see where there's light. And because we always set up our camp and our tent after dark, we make sure that nobody sees us. So one aspect of that is that we tend to discover the place where we're sleeping the next morning, but also that we really realize that you become invisible the moment you're outside of people's car or motorbike lights, and that we can actually be quite close to busy roads and still be invisible because people just don't look outside of that field of vision and light.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Aire and Lili. What I really loved about this story, listeners, was just how special that unplanned moment was. And there were a few of them really, weren't there? From arriving at the wrong school but being welcomed so hospitably nonetheless, to then happenstancing on that beautiful sunset at that temple, and then waking up at their wild camp to what was an amazing place, which they had no concept of the night before as well. It's these unplanned moments which I hear from guests each and every week, which really leave us with the most impactful experiences at the end of our trips as well. Moments that we will never forget and often don't cost a cent either. And I really loved listening to Lili and Aire's account of this as well. Now, in the future, I do hope to be able to interview Lili and Aire when all of our schedules can align. They are, as they said, currently making their way to Italy, having left Oroville in India a few months ago now. Once we get together, I'll record an interview and you get to listen to their full experiences on this adventure as well. Now, I'd like to give a shout out to those of you who have recently bought me a coffee and have been supporting the show. I appreciate every single one of you, and I especially love your messages of support, which are linked with your donations as well. Robert Koch says, "Love the show, Bella. You and your guests are inspirations. I've been on a couple of shorter bikepacking trips so far, and I'm looking to go across the US when I retire in a couple of years." Thank you so much, Robert. I'm really looking forward to learning more about this future adventure of yours. There's a few episodes so far in the podcast which talk to guests who have done that Trans-America journey, and I wonder whether you're thinking of doing the same trip there too. All the best, and thank you so much for supporting the show. Belinda says, "Hi Bella, I came across your wonderful podcast while checking what podcast the amazing Hells on Wheels, Helen Dainty, huge fan, had been on lately. I loved your questions. It felt like you asked just what we all wanted to know. And I also really love your interviewing style. I'm just enjoying your Pete Gost episode and seeing your Steph Devery episode pop up too. Very, very excited to listen to this one. You're doing a great job, mate. I'm really enjoying listening to your show. It keeps me dreaming and planning till I can get out there, and also getting all the tips from the people that are doing it now too." Thank you so much, Belinda. I really love reading this message and seeing that you're drawing inspiration from a few long-term, long-distance travellers there in Hell's, Peter Dainty, and also Steph Devery too. Since those interviews, I have added a few other long-term travellers to the guest list, so I'm sure you will enjoy listening to their experiences as well. Once again, thank you so much for supporting the show. If you'd also like to support the show, it's pretty simple. Just click the link for Buy Me a Coffee, which you will see located in the show notes, And you too can show your appreciation and support for the show there as well. Until the next episode, I'm Bella Malloy. Thanks for listening.